What's up, guys? Thanks so much for stopping by the channel. Today we have another unboxing. Victory at Sea again is back. We finally got our Imperial Japanese Navy Fleet starter box, so we are excited to dig into this, guys. We'll be right back after we get the box open, get all the contents out for you, and then we'll take a look at everything the fleet has for you. Alrighty, guys, we are back. We got everything unboxed for you here, so there's quite a bit of stuff in these as is normal. So kind of start off on the paperwork here a little bit. We get our typical working with Warlord Games Resins little info sheet, so we'll skip that for now. With any of these, you do get a World of Warships Legends invite code, so those are always cool. Like to see the little partnerships there. You get the little assembly guide with everything, which is definitely useful because of all the different little bits. They are labeled on the little metal sort of sprues, but nonetheless, a guide to some of these things is certainly useful. So speaking of the metal, so overall, again, pretty solid quality there. You're going to have to do a little bit of bending most likely, and obviously remove some flash and all that stuff. And then getting to the models themselves. So we have in this one a light cruiser that we get, if we can get this to focus here. So we got the Yahagi, and let's see if we can't get this to cooperate. There we go. So the Agano class cruiser here. So again, solid and very fast cruiser that'll do some work for you. Again, not really designed to take any kind of pounding, but that's typical for most cruisers. But again, big theme of the Japanese, of course, is going to be speed, and also just the torps on pretty much every cruiser as well. So we get some more Mogami class that we, if you've picked up the 2-player starter or were lucky enough to get like a demo kit or something, you've already got like some of the ships from that class, including I think the Mogami itself. But here we get, again, 2 of these bad boys. So this one is the Mikuma, and then also the Suzuya. So 2 of those to help round out the Mogami class. Then we get this big boy here, so another Japanese battleship. So finally something besides the Yamato, so you don't have to always run that monster. But the Congo class, really cool battleship. Going to struggle a little bit against some of the later well, I shouldn't say contemporary in that sense, but some of the later and more modern American designs. This thing actually dates back to like World War I times and has just got retrofitted many times, but nonetheless a really cool ship that can definitely do some work for you. So again, the Congo of the Congo class, and in contrast to a lot of other nations' battleships, this thing's actually pretty speedy, so that's one thing in its sort of plus column there. Then we get an aircraft carrier, the Shokaku, so really just a massive piece here, and again, lots of great detail on all the sides, so all the little secondary guns, AA guns, exhaust, and all this stuff. So just really cool. So part of the Shokaku class. So I'm sure at some point we'll get the actual Shokaku just to complete that. But really good stuff here. Fun to paint and just a massive model. And then getting to the smaller ships. So we've had plenty of Fubukis, again, if you've got the 2-player starter or the demo kit. So these guys, again, if we can get the focus to cooperate here. Is the Kaguros class, so essentially just slightly larger than a Fubuki, and deal some solid damage. That being said, as far as the kit goes here, and maybe this is just an off one, but the majority of the kit here is that good light gray resin, and then these guys are part of that darker gray, just not so good resin. So, and these have like a lot of flash on them just all over the place, so you're definitely, if your kit's similar, you're going to have a lot of cleanup to do. And then we get 4 flights of zeros as well. So we get our bases and stuff here. And again, there's a little bit of warpage and other flash and stuff here that we'll have to fix and clean up. But that's all doable, so no big worries there. And again, our zeros over here. And then sort of the other big chunk that we get, of course, are the cards, big chunky stat cards here. And again, lots of good stuff. So we've reviewed a little bit in our initial videos. Go back and check those out when we were covering the demo kit and then the 2-player starter. So just kind of what the Japanese fleet is kind of geared towards. So they certainly have quality across the board, but a lot of their strength is going to be just in being a fast fleet with, again, access to essentially torpedoes all over the place as far as cruisers are concerned. And again, obviously their destroyers are really good. So that will be one of their areas there that they can definitely excel at, just depending on, again, which years you're playing at, which theater, all that stuff, and kind of how you choose to set up your battles. But overall, the Japanese definitely bring some really good ships to the game here. So again, the Shokaku here start off with 275 points. As you can see, their flank speed is 7, solid armor for that, decent amount of hull points as well. It's got carrier and torpedo belt 2. And then 18 flights that it could have there. A pretty solid battery of light guns, 16 5-inchers, so chucking 10 dice there, out to a respectable range. And then to start off with local 2 for anti-air. And again, we get some of the historical information on the back there. And we get a couple of refits, so basically we, as you might expect, be increasing the AA throughout the whole thing, and then throughout the years available. And then the Zuikaku itself basically gets to go up to local 5 for another 5 points in 1944. So overall, cool stuff there. And again, just the Shokaku is the other one that we would need. This is that light cruiser that we were talking about, the Agano. So 110 points, and again, you get a speedy cruiser, speed 7 there. Again, not much in the way of armor, but it's a light cruiser, right? So what do you expect? 17 hull. It's got aircraft 3, armored deck, torpedo belt 2. Coming in with 3 double turrets there, basically. So out to a respectable range, again, for what a light cruiser does. Obviously not going to be throwing that many dice, but it has a couple interesting rules there. Fast track, twin linked, and weak, though. So something to keep in mind. So obviously put it against things that it can do well at. You know, it's not going to essentially be good to pit this up against anything too heavy or too serious, but you do have a couple of good things to back you up there. So AA battery, nothing great to start with, but you have, again, Japanese torpedoes. So you got the Type 93, they're port starboard, so basically whichever side you want to go for there. And then out to a respectable range there of 34, which, you know, is actually longer than your guns can shoot. But you can kind of get that sweet spot, as you can kind of see. So maybe extreme range on your turrets and kind of long range on the torps. So that like mid-20s range is going to be a good spot for you to probably keep people at, and then just you know, hope the dice cooperate with you there. But they're devastating and slow loading, as you might expect there. But let's take a look at the upgrades. Again, not too many in the class here. So we got the Noshiro, Sakawa, and Yahagi that would still need to be made. Or was this one the Yahagi? Let's double check. So yeah, that was the Yahagi. So I think we just need the Agano itself then as well. Anyway, so basically I think of this as like a destroyer leader, kind of as I was talking about here. So this thing has got the guns to deal with lighter enemies, oops. But the torps there can just kind of put that massive damage on any target really that gets caught in that. So upgrades specifically just for the Sakawa, adding radar and sub hunter and local, bumping up the local AA, and then one more time in 45, bumping that up to local 4. So again, pretty solid light cruiser that can do a lot of different things. The Congo itself, again, speed 6 battleship here, clocking in at 375, 4 up armor, 73 hull, aircraft 3, armored deck, torpedo belt 2, and it's got basically 4 different twin 14-inch guns, reaching out to 39 inches there. So, but that long range is probably going to be your sort of best engagement area, just to not get too many negative modifiers. And 2 AD apiece, as you might expect, but can definitely put some damage out. Again, considering that this was initially built in the World War I time period, and you know, the many refits and upgrades that it's gotten. So, so just keep that in mind when you're pitting this, or what you're choosing to have this thing do in your fleet, and kind of what you could realistically expect it to do against the opposition that you're facing. It's got a pretty robust battery of light guns too, 14 6-inchers and 8 5-inchers, letting you throw some solid dice there. And then initially a pretty crappy AA battery, as you might expect from a lot of these older Jap ships. But you get plenty of upgrades there. So 3 for the Haruna, really just bumping up the AA to very respectable levels. Congo as well. You get to reduce the light guns to 6 attack dice, but you bump your AA battery up to 10 for actually a downgrade in points. So that's kind of cool there. But then the 44 upgrade, you're adding radar, and you're basically switching it to the profile down below for 65 points. So you can see how the secondary guns have changed, but having local 6 again is just pretty damn solid for late war there. And again, yeah, real life speed sort of 30 knots essentially. So again, keep in mind when this thing was initially built and served. So that's, if they ever kind of do a backwards expansion to this game where you can play like World War One ships and Dreadnought era and all that stuff, you could probably see that ship again, but it'd be pretty cool. Anyway, Mogami Class, we know what this is all about, so really just an awesome heavy cruiser with the speed of a light fast cruiser or destroyer. So solid armor for what it is, 30 hull, almost 300 points, but that's just because of everything that this thing's bringing here. So it's got basically 5 main turrets of 8-inch guns. Not the longest range, of course, but again, this is a cruiser. It's not a battleship. But this thing will just munch on other similar cruisers. And then to top it all off, AA sucks, of course, but it brings a just ridiculous torpedo battery, right? This has more torps than actual destroyers. So it's got 4 sets of Type 93 launchers, basically 2 on each side. And as we saw earlier, we know what those can do when we looked at the light cruiser. So, this thing can cause all kinds of chaos. You just got to keep them moving, don't get caught in bad spots, and utilize it to what it can do best. And these things are absolutely nasty if a bit expensive. So we get 2 of those again here to help round out the ships that we do have. I guess we should look at the backside just briefly, although we've looked at that more in our demo video and again the 2-player starter. So Kumano and Suzuya get upgrades as well. So there's different refits you can do as well there. But yeah, there's just the 4 in the class. I think we basically have them all now. We might I think need 1 more maybe, but and then obviously upgrades to the Mogami itself. So good stuff there. And then we get to our Kaguros. So again, that's the 3 destroyers that we get. Speed 7, armor 1, 5 hull again. It's a destroyer, so not really designed to take a punch. 100 points a piece though. I can't remember. I think there was some discussion of these being overcosted or incorrectly listed on the points. But again, this seems like there were a lot of errors and issues with the initial cards and things, and kind of one of the downsides of not having a full set of rules to go along with the launch of a game. So thankfully that's coming out soon, and hopefully we'll address a lot of these issues. But that being said, there are cards out there that are shipped essentially incorrectly as far as like the information on them. So hopefully at some point Warlord will correct that and reprint new ones. Anyway, though, so we get 6 5-inch guns. Again, you're a little bit limited if you're shooting directly forward or aft, but when you can turn or get the angle there to get all your guns into range and arc, it's respectable for what it is. But these things, again, are speeding around and getting into positions where they can then launch those torpedoes. So you get 2 launchers basically of Type 93. Again, 4 AD a piece here, so really good stuff. And then here, again, tons of ships in the class, and again, we get all kinds of different refits for that. So you got several options on ways to go there. Some of them are adding, things like radar and sub hunter. Others or pretty much all of them in some way are also bumping up local AA as is pretty much necessary the later you go in the war. So some really interesting things to run there, and gives you something to run besides just the Fubukis. So overall, a great intro set. Warlord always does a good job of putting these starter armies together. There's certainly a lot more that needs to be released as we go on, but between this, the things from the starter and or demo set, and then other things available like the Yamato, certainly, if you want that, gigantic battleship feel, that you can cause massive damage with. So yeah, there's it's a pretty good start to the game. Big things, of course, that we're still wanting to get released again are the rules right now. If you're watching this after the rules have come out, and then just taking a look and seeing what else is out there that we could add to the various nations. So I know we know subs are coming and all kinds of other goodness. So it's just a little bit of patience. Obviously, this year's been all kinds of crazy for all kinds of different reasons. So, give the game some time. Give it time to expand the model range on all the fleets. I know we got Italians coming too, so that'll be another great look there. So, but as long as Warlord keeps pumping out some releases here every now and then for each of the factions, the game's going to grow into some really good and deep gameplay, hopefully. And like I said, it'd be cool at some point if they ever decided to go and do like World War One naval with this. The rule set itself is tight enough as is, so really it'd just be a matter of making the ships, I think, with some minor tweaks. But yeah. Anyway, let us know for you guys that are playing the Japanese, what your experience has been with building the fleet so far, strengths and weaknesses, things you've noticed, and if you've played against the Japanese, what are your successes or failures been against them? Where do you tend to struggle? Let us know in the comments, guys. We really do appreciate you stopping by. Again, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and then we will see you in the next one as we get our fleets finished up and then painted and ready for battle reports for you. Take care.